This episode is brought to you by Accenture. When your advertising operations fall out of sync, everything else follows. Spotify and Accenture are working together to reinvent the rhythm of ad sales, using automation, analytics, and smarter workflows to simplify campaign delivery and access better data across the business. The result? Less time spent on operations, more time connecting brands with the moments and fandoms that matter most. Learn more at accenture.com/Spotify.
Here's your report.
Oh, thanks, Jane. I wish I could hire someone just like you.
Try LinkedIn Hiring Pro. It's more than a job board. It's like the recruiter you always wished you had. Hiring Pro uses real-time insights to match your role to LinkedIn's unique network of professionals and delivers a short list of best fit candidates. You'll spend less time sorting applicants and more time talking to the right people.
Let's do it. You're irreplaceable, Jane, but another you would be great.
Hire right the first time. Post your job for free on LinkedIn today at linkedin.com/quality.
Welcome to Holocron History, Star Wars Canon vs. Legends, where we take a deep dive into the Star Wars universe, such as characters, creatures, stories, and so much more. Hosted by Ben of Temeria and Kodojo. Welcome back to Holocron History, Star Wars Canon vs. Legends. I'm one of your hosts, Brandon, or also known as Ben of Temeria, and with me is my good friend and fellow co-host, Kodojo.
Hello there.
And we are here to bring you everything Star Wars lore between the Legends and the Disney post-canon and all that fun stuff. You might be wondering why Brandon, or Ben, is, talking more at the beginning of the show. Well, unfortunately, Teacup did have to leave the show. He had a bunch of personal things that came up to where he had to leave. He is still doing the Assassin's Creed and Dragon Age Lorecast, as far as I'm aware, so go hear him on those, which is all great stuff. But you might know Kodojo as, if you weren't listening to our last patron episode, he is one of our patrons, or now host of the show, which is very similar to what happened to me when I took over the Witcher Lorecast, which is, all good and fun. It's great being a patron of the show and, get asked, hey, would you want to, do this more often?
The apprentice now becomes the master.
Pretty much, right? Exactly. That's literally what just happened. Austin gave up his master title and handed it off to Kodojo. So, yeah, it's great stuff. And for this episode, we are diving into a topic I know Kodojo has been wanting to do for a while, and surprisingly, I have never talked about before in the show, hyperspace. We've never talked about hyperspace and its workings and everything in the Star Wars universe, which is surprising.
It's a personal mystery to me what hyperspace actually is. Is it a series of tunnels? Is it another realm of reality? What is it? I've never actually gotten into the lore.
And what's really funny is it's similar to, if anybody knows Star Trek, it's the similar thing. Like warp drives is still it doesn't work like it would in real life in the show, obviously, because it's a show.
Don't let the fans hear you say that.
Oh, I know. That's why we do Star Wars and not Star Trek. We're on the fantasy side of things, rather being scientific. Pushing up my glasses if I had any. So, just like we normally would on a Legends Canon episode, we dive into the Legends material first. So, Hyperspace, also called Dark Space by the Yuuzhan Vong, which, are a nasty race a very scary race in the or species in the Star Wars Legends. So hyperspace was an alternate dimension of the space-time continuum used by starships to achieve faster than light travel and could only be entered at faster than light speeds using a hyperdrive. Hyperspace was a coterminous with real space, with unique point of real space being associated with unique point in hyperspace. That's a lot of words.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of complications. So While a number of aspects of hyperspace remain mysterious to the astrophysicists and astrologian experts, it is clear that hyperspace shortened travel times, allowing starships equipped with hyperdrives to cross light speeds in a matter of minutes. Consequentially, hyperspace travel was a backbone of galactic society, commerce and trade, politics, and warfare.
Which is interesting considering if you look at our own history, seafaring was the
Mm-hmm.
backbone of um, all of these, commerce, politics, warfare,
Right,
especially in the Mediterranean for who knows how long.
right.
You, even back during the Bronze Age, sailing was a big thing.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Sailing, sea travel, and everything in our own world was a. Once we figured that out, oh boy, did we like rapidly expand as a human species.
Yeah. And now with the Star Wars universe, once they figured out hyperspace, all of a
Mm-hmm.
sudden that opens up a whole new possibilities like we did with sailing.
Right. Exactly. So now we're going to get in a little bit of the technical background. So be mind of big words. Normally, Bernoulli matter in real space could obey physical principles in relativity. It would increase, oh god, asymptomatically in mass as it accelerated towards the speed of light, requiring more and more energy to approach it, but even in infinite values, never suppressing the speed of light threshold. Tachyonic matter, on the other hand, exists in values solely above the speed of light and could not decrease lower than light speed barrier.
Neil deGrasse Tyson, where are you when we need you?
Right. And then, by the way, tachyonic, I know that word because The Flash.
Yeah.
If anybody
Yeah, I think
watched the
they also
CW The Flash,
I think they also use tachyon in Star Trek too.
I was never a Trekkie, so I couldn't really tell you. I watched like the J.J. Abrams movies, but that was about it.
Yeah.
So hyperdrive technology allowed the sentience to bypass this barrier, making a use of transphysical effect to create ripples in spacetime. A hyperdrive equipped ship would propel off the ripples up to jump into hyperspace, allowing it to traverse the galaxy at speeds of hundreds or even thousands of times the speed of light. Hyperspace was an alternate dimension of spacetime, similar to subspace or other space, that was coterminous with real space. Each point in real space was associated with a unique point in hyperspace, especially a ship traveling galactic north in real space as it jumped to hyperspace would travel north in hyperspace too. Every object in real space, like stars or planets, also had a shadow in hyperspace at the same location it occupied in real space.
So
Oh.
essentially, if you're facing north in the galactic north,
Mm-hmm.
you enter the hyperspace facing north.
Right.
And
Yep.
then stars and planets, which are huge and massive, had some effect in this realm as well,
Right.
which
Yep.
is kind of weird. If they're two separate realms, how can one affect the other? That is the questions I need to know.
Yeah, that's a very good point. Um, which I don't know if we'll answer today. We'll see. So we have a little history, and by history I mean one sentence of history in Legends material, which is the principles of high space travel were first discovered by the ancient Rakata.
Now, if you watched oh Ahsoka, that was it. That's the show I was
That's
looking
the
for.
show. One of the shows.
Morgan said that it was the witches of Dathomir who first tamed the space whales
Mm-hmm.
to use as for hyperspace travel. Now, in my mind, I think they're claiming first dibs on being able to travel faster than
Yeah,
light.
we'll see. I mean they're the first to tame, but that doesn't mean they're not the first who discovered it. They never specifically said who discovered it, hyperspace travel first. So,
Yeah,
a lot of people are hoping it's like, can they just add the Rakata and just put them in there? Because we do see a
I
star
wish.
map. We see a star map. Just saying. Um,
I think even in the official one of the official star maps, they have a planet called Ricotta.
Oh
I
shoot,
can't
I
remember which one.
think you're right.
It
Um,
could be in one of the DM handbooks for like Force and Destiny.
Now, for everybody knowing, uh, ricottas are in canon. Actually,
Really?
they were first mentioned in the Star Wars canon in the 45th issue of the Agostini magazine Star Wars Build the Millennium Falcon, in its German release. Huh.
Huh.
Interesting. We'll see. Star Wars. Oh, wait. In the 48th issue of the 2015 comic book series Star Wars, written by Karen Gillan, penciled by Salvatore Larocca, was published by Marvel Comics on May 23rd, 2018. An unidentified Mon Calamari from the script was mistakenly depicted as a member of the Ricotta species. Oh, never mind. It was a Mon Calamari. Boo.
Ew.
Yeah. Apparently it was like some Star Wars Build the Millennium Falcon, number 45,
Hmm.
was first mentioned. And then, yeah, that's the only thing they really talked about in canon. That's sad.
Yeah.
Anyway, moving on to hyperdrive usage. So, a starship utilizing a hyperdrive would go through a fixed routine process. After the course was plotted in the navigation computer, the ship moved to the bearing matching the course and activated the hyperdrive. The ship was then seen to be accurate so rapidly that passengers within the vessel saw stars stretch into parallel lines during the jump to hyperspace. This apparent acceleration was also observable from outside the vessel, where a ship jumping to hyperspace would appear to undergo a sudden massive burst of speed and disappear from the physical universe. This phenomenon was referred to as pseudo motion.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, basically it's when you see them just go whoosh, like
Yeah.
from 0 to 60 and like nothing flat.
Yep. And then they disappeared completely, where you don't see them at all anymore. So yeah. When hyperspace was entered, a starship was left the conventional universe or real space. At hyperspeed, the entire visible universe was seen as a blue shaded corridor of molten high speed blur, indicative of the other dimensional nature of hyperspace. In hyperspace, the ship was effectively cut off from the normal methods of scanning and detection.
Hmm. Unless you're well, okay, normal methods, yeah.
Yeah,
But
normal
it's
methods.
been seen that Force users have been able to detect others in hyperspace.
That is true. That is very true.
Because during the High Republic, there were two Force users who had some kind of special connection to
Mm-hmm.
hyperspace. One, um, oh, what was her name? The green skin.
Oh, the Mirror Luca.
Yeah. Oh God, I can't remember her name. Why can't I remember her name?
Venestra Rowe.
Vanessa Rowe would go into a special meditation,
Yeah, she
which
gets
scared her.
hyperspace vision. That's
Yeah.
what she would get. She would
And
get visions in while she's traveling at hyperspace, which she did not like traveling at hyperspace because of that reason. She tried to. It's just much like if you're in The Witcher and when you hear Geralt, "I hate portals." This is Venestra's literally, "I hate hyperspace."
and
So,
then the Nihil had an individual who wasn't a Jedi, but seemed to be very force sensitive when it
oh, you're
came to,
talking about the Santega,
yeah, the Santeca who was kidnapped or
mm-hmm.
something.
who created the
Kept,
paths and kept
yeah,
her alive
collected
and all that.
various paths, and she just seemed very mellow when she was in hyperspace.
Yeah.
And she was alive for like 110 years.
Oh yeah, it was stupid. They kept her alive in a Batha tank or well, Bacta didn't exist. What was it,
Bacta.
Bacta? Did
Yeah,
that exist yet?
yeah, that existed, but it was rare. So, and they
Okay,
used Kolto for most everything, but they did
Kolto.
have
That's what it
Bacta.
was. Moving on, hyperdriving of a ship, for example, a T-65 X-wing, was done by submitting coordinates into a navicomputer, either manually or being received via wireless transmissions. Rogue Squadron, among many others, use this kind of transmission so that all ships in a group or fleet utilize the same coordinates for a mission. Coordinate calculation was a dangerous task, for if a vessel in hyperspace traveled too close to a black hole, star, or any other gravity well, they would be forced out of hyperspace. And then insta-system hyperspace travel via micro jumps was rare, but was sometimes used strategically.
Yeah, there's a lot of breakdown there. In
Yeah.
Alphabet Squadron, there was a part where like two pilots went off on their own and they had their own computers make the calculations. And one of the people noted that if they had a capital size ship, these calculations could be done much faster than their onboard Starship computer could do. And the escaping from hyperspace, if it got dangerous, that just feels like a fail safe they programmed in.
Oh, absolutely. Because God forbid you run into a black hole and it's like, oh, you're gone.
And
What
then
happened to him?
micro jumps were a famous tactic of
Mm-hmm.
Thrawn
Yes.
during either Legends or canon, but I think just Legends.
Yeah. This is specific Legends material, so that would be coming from Legends for sure. So because of the inherent dangers of hyperspatial navigation, highly traveled routes were close to inhabited systems. In the event of navigation error or hyperdrive equipment malfunction, proximity to spaceports or inhabited systems meant it was unlikely one would be stranded with only sublight power and limited provisions. Usually, problems come in the form of mistakes in calculating navigation coordinates or incomplete and outdated information in regard to significant gravic bodies. Trying to find a ship that had re-entered real space due to a malfunction or to an underdetermined location was nearly impossible task, as the many who sought the legendary Katana fleet across the vast tracts of open space learned.
Now, unfortunately, I didn't read many of the Legends books because I was out in the middle of nowhere. So I wouldn't know about
Right.
the Katana fleet, unfortunately.
Known as the Dark Force. They were. I'm trying to see where they first appeared. Uh, Mentioned in Skywalker's A Clone Wars Story, Republic number 70, Side Trip, which is also reprinted in the Hyperspace, the official Star Wars fan club. A bunch of unabridged audiobooks. Oh yeah, it's a bunch of books. Okay, well that makes sense. And also, having a ship completely damaged by like battle would also not help you going into hyperspace. The Ebon Hawk, KOTOR 2, have
Yeah.
a T3 droid fix everything up so you can get to Paragus, which is the I hate that prologue with so much passion. Um, but hey, you get force powers at the get go rather than KOTOR 1. So I guess there's like a good thing to it. It's like you get force powers at the bat, but like Paragus sucks as a location. But hey, force powers. All right, so moving on to hazards of hyperspace. So when moving at speeds many times the speed of light, there were many dangers. While any collision or interface at this state was potentially fatal, the effects of gravitational pull on a starship could be practically devastating. Thus, of course, had to be plotted outside at the mass shadow or gravity well of large celestial bodies. This was exploited in many ways through the ages. Hyperspace courses were often plotted using a planet's mass as a backstop, the hyperdrive safety systems automatically stopping the ship as it reached the farthest point of possible travel.
Yeah, and watching various videos, Thrawn used gravity well generators on starships
Yeah.
as a tactic because usually Imperials pull ships out of hyperspace for inspections. He used those for pulling ships behind enemy lines where he
Mm-hmm.
wanted them.
Right. Surprise attack.
Boo.
Right. Boo, I'm here. Oh shit.
Surprise,
Uh,
MF.
right. So, hyperspace collisions, whether they're intentional or by accident, could devastate or even destroy a planet. Considering the fact that the output of reactors of many capital ships raveled or eclipsed that of a star, and that the energies needed to make hyperspace travel possible were vast. One could unleash a great deal of destructive power on a target. Even if a planet had its planetary shielding up at the time of the hyperspace collision, it could still have the potential to kill millions on a world such as Coruscant just due to the fallout. One of more famous hyperspace accidents occurred during the Clone Wars when a battle cruiser, uh, Quastor,
Waystar?
Quastar, yeah, collided with the separatist planet, Piedmont, fracturing it to its core.
Ooh.
It went boom. Think of the
Yeah.
the Death Star hitting Alderaan, but instead of a beam, it was the entire ship. And it
Yeah.
just kaboom.
Yeah. And another example of disaster because of collision hyperspace would be in
Mhm.
High Republic.
Yep. Which
Oh, I can't
I
remember
think we'll
the.
get. I think we'll get to that when we get into
Okay.
the canon,
Okay.
because canon is going to be in the back half. So gravity generators could be used to create an artificial indirection field, which stopped hyperspace travel in a particular area by mimicking the outer fringes of a celestial body's gravity, useful for both pulling ships out of hyperspace en route and preventing enemies from escaping to lightspeed during engagement. Less affluent groups such as pirates dragged large asteroids or planetoids into trade routes in lieu to the generator or starship method, providing them with both a means to stop shipping and a temporary base or shield against hostile fire. Blech.
Yeah. And best example is that is during Rebels when they're trying to get Ezra off planet and Thrawn's using two gravity ships. One gets destroyed, which leaves enough of a hole to
Mhm.
let Ezra through.
Right,
So
right. Black holes were a constant menace. At least a few vessels each year were destroyed by these several wandering black holes in real space. Their near infinite gravity wells could be catastrophic to craft that passed too close. What's a freaking
black hole.
black hole? I mean, that's blatantly obvious right then and there. You don't have to say much about the black hole. So outside the bounds of the vessel's shielding, hyperspace itself is a lethal environment for any real space species. Being blown out of the airlock of a vessel while in hyperspace was a more effective way to kill an individual than exposing that individual to the vacuum of real space. An individual could survive an escape pod ejected into hyperspace, but if the pod lacked a hyperdrive of its own, the reversion of real space would be impossible.
I wonder what kind of scientific experiments were conducted to figure all that out.
Yeah, right. I don't want to know. That sounds terrible.
Uh,
So even staring at hyperspace from the observation deck of a starship from a prolonged amount of time could produce hyper rapture, a form of madness in a being, or so the legend stated. And there was something fundamentally wrong with the view in the higher dimensional universe. Standard imperial operating procedure was to keep the peristyle
Oblique.
oblique during travel through the hyperspace. However, Darth Vader enjoyed staring at the kaleidoscopic and swirling patterns of light, and Chronal found it soothing to stare into, thought it was a emptiness outside of the universe.
I wonder if, like we said before, if hyperspace affects Force users differently.
Right, and the thing with Vader, I mean, it's Vader. I mean, he's one of
Yeah.
the most powerful Force builders in the entire universe. And he's also half robot at that point. He's already mad.
Oh yeah.
So there's really nothing much to do there. And then when
No,
a jump. Oh, sorry, go on.
I wonder if hyperspace is just a realm of force.
I mean, it could be. Probably. I mean, the Force is everything, so
Yeah. Okay.
could be. When a jump was attempted utilizing a damaged hyperdrive, a starship would be stuck in a crossroad of space, halfway into hyperspace and half in real space. An example was the Sith dreadnought Harbinger. The unfortunate ship made some quick thinking by the ship's captain, Saris Rogan, and propelled 5,000 years in the future to the time of Luke Skywalker's Jedi Order.
Now that name does sound familiar.
Yeah, the Harbinger
Yes, it's
is is it not the same? Is it the same one?
Yep. No,
Okay,
no, Naga Sadao and
that's Nagasato.
Yeah. Then what was the name of the dreadnought in KOTOR 2?
Harbinger.
Hmm.
That's why I'm like really confused. Like,
Yeah.
oh, it wasn't a dreadnought. It was a hammerhead. That's why. It's a different class of ship. That threw me off because this Harbinger is a Sith dreadnought. The Harbinger in KOTOR 2 is a hammerhead class cruiser.
Really?
It's a different. It's the hammerhead style, like what the rebels use in the original trilogy.
Huh. Okay.
It's that style, which I was like, wait a minute, I know that name, and then just like you, it's like that's the name of the ship in KOTOR 2. That doesn't make any sense. So now we get into the effects on sensors and comms. So in addition to navigational hazards, there's also difficulty inherent in communication with the starship while traveling at hyperspeed. Since ships in hyperspace did not exist in a conventional sense, they were largely cut off from the conventional radio or subspace communications. Since wavelengths of any signal would be massively distorted, even in the reach of the vessel, hypercom signals could reach a vessel in hyperspace. However, it was very difficult to communicate in even this fashion unless the signal was sent from one end of the other the traveling ship's course or between ships on the same course.
Yeah, I was gonna say because there's a scene in Rogue One where they're in hyperspace and Andor's speaking on the radio with one of the generals. So
Right. And that's why you also, like, every time you're on hyperspace, they don't really talk on comms. Like, almost ever. Very rarely that you see that. So the same difficulties presented to communication also applied to sensors. It was nearly impossible to maintain sensor lock on a vessel in hyperspace, which made escape to light speed a very robust retreat option in most engagements. The only option available to pursuit was generally to plot several courses along the target's last known vector and try to guess where the ship would come out of hyperspace for course corrections. This was generally a losing strategy, as of course, since most ships wishing to avoid pursuit would plot a short jump followed by a longer one to the destination at a different vector before enemies could arrive. The best option was to place a homing beacon on the enemy ship, but a large distance. Only HoloNet equipped tracking devices were useful, and these were fantastically expensive.
yeah, the Empire did that a lot actually.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, they did. An interesting phenomenon associated with hyperspace travel was Koru radiation. Now, this was a short but powerful burst of radiation, which was generated when a ship was entered and left hyperspace. It was also detected by properly aligned sensors from a few light speed away, often well outside normal sensor radius. This was how the rebel base on Hoth was able to prepare the incoming attack when Admiral Ozell mistakenly took the Executor and its battle fleet out of hyperspace too close to the system, rather than approaching stealthily from outside the system.
So they used it as an early warning detection
Yeah.
from where the hyperspace points were. If he would have jumped out further out, then they wouldn't have detected his ship as they were coming closer.
Right.
So,
And last in Legends is the communications, I believe. Oh, actually, no. We still have some Nope, we still have some legends after communications. So, while hyperspace travel was the primary usage of the phenomenon which bound the modern galaxy together, it was by no means the only one. Hypercom technology sent signal packets through hyperspace at greater speeds and distances than the possible with more conventional subspace transmitters, and this was done with so much speed that so much greater speed than hyperdrive equipped starships.
Yeah, basically you just make a message and you just send it out on
Yeah.
a communication relay.
Yep. And the HoloNet increased the range still further using the interconnected network of hyperwave transceivers suspended in hyperspace to rebroadcast enormous tracts of data over the entire galaxy, allowing instantaneous full holo transmissions from virtually any subscriber to any other. Under the Galactic Empire, the HoloNet was rigorously controlled, and even under the New Republic, the network was fantastically expensive to maintain, and so direct two-way connection was usually limited to government personnel and the wealthy. News, entertainment, other wide-reaching broadcasts were transmitted throughout the galaxy and repeated on local sector-based subspace networks. However, so every level of galactic society was touched by this communications tool, not simply those with expensive hypercom systems.
Yeah, and High Republic, the Starlight Beacon, the base, was acting as a communication for the outer rims.
Yeah.
Until they could get proper sub-communication relays out there.
That is correct. But with that being said, let's take a quick mid-break. When we come back, we'll continue more of Legends, and then we'll finally get into the canon of things.
Experience a membership that backs what you're building with American Express Business Platinum. Unlock over $4,000 in business and travel value annually with statement credits on select purchases from brands like Dell, ChatGPT Business, Hilton, and Adobe, and other benefits. American Express Business Platinum. There's nothing like it. Based on total potential value of statement credits on select purchases and other benefits, enrollments required, monthly and other limits and terms apply. Learn more at americanexpress.com/business-platinum.
Need a laptop that's built to perform and designed to last all day? Select Windows 11 PCs starting at $499.99 are now at Best Buy. Learn more at bestbuy.com. Best Buy. Imagine that.
All right, this is going to be a pretty short mid-break. Thank you, everybody who supports the show and everybody who listens. If you want to support the show, you can go to patreon.com/theholocronhistories, where you can get ad-free episodes or even join us once a month on the show itself. You can also support us on Apple and Spotify. Leave a 5-star review on Apple with some nice words or a nice Spotify comment, or read those out loud on the show as well, which we don't have any this week, but, it's a new year, so Get those reviews in. Let us know how we're doing. Let us know what you want to hear, and we'll dive into it if we haven't already dived into it already. And then you can also find us on a few different Discord servers, the Robots Radio Discord at robotsradio.net, as well as my own Discord server, the Ben and Friends Podcasting Discord, where you can find this show and all the plethora of other shows that I host, which are the Final Fantasy Lorecast, the Gundam Lorecast, the Wizarding World Lorecast, and the Witcher Lorecast. So go check those out. All great fun, all great stuff. And you can also find us live on my Twitch channel at twitch.tv/Ben of Temeria every Tuesday at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific, where, you can join us in the chat of the show and just, talk everything Star Wars of what we're talking about, or ask us questions in the chat. But, oh gosh, I think that's all I have for the mid-break. Pretty quick to it. Do you have anything, Kodojo?
Nothing to add, I'm afraid.
Cool. Well, with that being said, let's get back into more hyperspace.
When you're a mid-sized business, you need every competitive advantage you can get. Like an AI solution that works for you, not against you. SAP Grow is built with AI embedded at its core, working across every system. And it's ready to go from day one, so you can hit the ground running. Bring it with SAP Grow, AI Cloud ERP for any size business.
Tomorrow morning is knocking. Stock your fridge now. How about a creamy mocha frappuccino drink? Or a sweet vanilla? Smooth caramel, maybe? Or a white chocolate mocha? Whichever you choose, delicious coffee awaits. Find Starbucks Frappuccino drinks wherever you buy your groceries.
All right, we are back, and now we're getting into navigation of hyperspace. This is still Legends, mind you all. So because of the danger of mass shadows, not to mention the indirecting of pirates, hyperspace courses had to be plotted with great caution. Very few beings other than the powerful Jedi could react while traveling at many times the speed of light, and in any case, conventional sensors and communications could not receive information faster than light speed. Even subspace sensors, which operated along with the alternate dimension and propagate faster than light, could not keep up with the vast speeds of hyperspace travel. Thus, precise advanced knowledge of the celestial bodies along the way was necessary in the form of navigational computers. These devices, also known as navcomps or navicomputers by spacers, contain detailed star charts and was ability to make astro-navigational calculations quickly from one point to another before a jump was taken. Oh, that was a lot.
Yeah, and it's true that only powerful Jedi, but in the chaos or unknown region, there has developed sort of a sub-force users that are specifically used for hyperspace travel.
Right, that's true. And then while pilots had to have a basic understanding of astronav skills to operate a nav computer proficiently, they didn't need to know the complex physical equations necessary for hyperspace or hyperspeed travel. Along with some species such as the given and the Senatine. Senatine has a Senatine. Because there's an I in there, were able to calculate these equations in their heads and thus did not require the help of a computer. The internal library charts had to be periodically updated, of course. As systems move slowly around the galaxy, stars explode and are born, and so on. And so a dedicated explorer and cartographer corps still existed a millennia after the first star lanes were plotted. Which makes sense if things keep expanding, so...
Oh, yeah. Things keep changing in the universe and galaxy, so...
Right?
Gotta keep on top of it.
Just like we have to update our GPSs, like, periodically. Same with the star charts.
Yep.
Most star travelers use pre-existing well-known trade routes that guaranteed that interdiction by pirates and celestial bodies were kept to a minimum. Help was close by the case of malfunction, and travel times could be reasonably predicted.
Yeah.
Go on.
No, I was just saying, sort of like when traveling like to the west, you always have these forts spaced out every few days where travelers would stop by and you can get help that way. And I imagine that's what it was like. Found a good stopping point. Says build a fort here,
right?
Our base here.
The Houndstooth, the personal ship of the bounty hunter boss, was able to change course in the middle of hyperspace jump. This capability was considered magnificent by Flirt when the droid explained the ship systems on the trip back to Labambu.
I wonder why changing course in the middle of hyperspace was so special.
Well, I mean, you couldn't change it when you're in hyperspace. You can't do anything unless you jump out of hyperspace.
Huh. Yeah, I guess that's true. Yeah.
So, him changing course mid hyperspace while he's in hyperspace is pretty significant.
Where did he get that tech then?
Good question. And this is Bosku we're talking about. He's not always the sharpest tool in the shed.
No, he's like a third-rated character at best.
Right? And then due to the existence of hyperspace shadows, there was also no straight, fixed hyperspace route that leads from one end of the galaxy to another.
No, but there were major lanes that were fairly consistent. Like five major hyperspace lanes.
There was major hyperspace lanes that were straight lines, but not from one end of the galaxy to another.
No,
So,
unfortunately.
and last in Legends, we have hyperspace travel times. So, despite being a mature technology and ships having traveled relatively stable hyperspace routes that were updated constantly, moving through hyperspace was still a dangerous proposition. While generally determined by distance between two planets, hyperspace travel times between two locations seamlessly close to one another could be drastically extended by the need to navigate around stellar hazards such as asteroid fields and nebulae. So,
Which
makes
makes
sense.
sense. Yeah.
And then an example of this would be the journey from Coruscant to Alderaan. Not Onderon, Alderaan. So, Princess Leia's place. In terms of distance,
Former.
former
Former.
place, sorry,
Place.
former place. In terms of distance, Alderaan was situated close to Coruscant, the former at approximately 5,000 light years from the core, and the latter at approximately 10,000 from the core. However, during the Imperial era, such a journey required roughly 16 hours of travel due to the section of the route passing through part of the largely uncharted deep core, which navigated was difficult as a result of the gravity wells produced by the conjunction of
Congestion.
congregation of stars. Sorry, words are hard. Um, Ironically, then, it was actually faster to get from Tatooine to Alderaan on the other side of the galaxy. In some cases, intergalactic travels could take days, depending on the distance between two planets and the obstacles between.
Now, see, that makes sense to me because even in our universe, it shows that stars and gravity wells are much more dense when you get closer to the center than when
Yes,
you get further out and away from the center.
correct.
So it would make sense that it would translate from our universe to Star Wars universe like that.
Mm-hmm. That is true. That is very true. So, moving on, now we are finally in canon of Star Wars. So this is all the ongoing stuff with Star Wars, obviously. So hyperspace was an alternate dimension that could only be reached by traveling at or faster than the speed of light. Hyperdrives enable starships to travel through hyperspace lanes across the great distances, enabling travel and exploration throughout the galaxy. So much like Legends. So, getting into the nature of hyperspace. So, during the High Republic era, hyperspace was not truly understood by anyone in the galaxy. It was still regarded as a mystery during the Imperial era. It was, at any rate, a dimension of space time alternate to the real space. In hyperspace, the normal laws of space and time did not apply, and beings traveling through the hyperspace sometimes used stasis fields to slow the passage of time on board a hyperspace ongoing vessel, an order to which the pilot only age as fast as the rest of the galaxy.
So you're telling me, unshielded, a pilot could age faster in hyperspace than in real space?
Apparently.
That's kind of scary to think about.
No kidding. That's terrifying. I don't want to look.
It's
I don't
kind of
want
the
to
reverse.
age.
It's kind of the reverse of the Alien franchise, where you age much slower in that universe because you're in hyper sleep or stasis
Right.
sleep,
Right.
cryo sleep. And an entire generation could go by while you're in cryo sleep, and you're just barely like a year older.
Right.
Meanwhile, in Star Wars, you can advance an entire year.
Mm-hmm.
And that's scary.
Right. And that's why they have shields. Uh, so it could only what?
I wonder how many situations it took for them to finally figure that out, though.
It probably didn't take long when people start looking older than what they were.
Yeah.
So it can only be assessed through the molecular displacement, in which they achieve by breaking the speed of light. The process created a simu tunnel, a pocket of real space allowing the safe travel through the alternate dimension. The Loth Wolves, encountered by the Spectres in 1 BBY, could travel in a similar manner to light speed via hyperspace tunneling. Hyperspace was conterminous with real space, meaning that each point in real space was associated with a unique point in hyperspace, and all adjacent points in real space were adjacent in hyperspace as well. Additionally, every object in real space, such as stars, planets, asteroids, has its shadow counterpart in hyperspace. Aside from those well-established facts and knowledge by all competent astrophysicists and astrologian experts, other aspects of hyperspace admittedly remained a mystery, which is pretty similar to Legends.
Yeah, but here's my thing. If wolf wolves can travel through hyperspace, does that mean canon hyperspace is less lethal?
Um, Possibly.
Because in Legends, we stated that it was very lethal compared to real space
True.
when being vented out. But yet you got wolf wolves apparently just hyperspacing across an entire planet with no problem, with no
Right.
side effects.
That's true. I mean, they are like force tethered beings.
Yeah, but they were able to take
Oh,
non-force
true.
tethered
That's true.
beings with
That's a
them.
good point. They took. That's a good point. So now we have hyperspace usage. So hyperdrives manipulated hypermatter particles in order to thrust a starship into hyperspace while preserving the ship's mass and energy profile. This shortened the travel distance, significantly allowing the vessel to jump from a specific point to another without having to travel directly between them, therefore reducing journey time by an extraordinarily large margin. The vessel's ability to travel through hyperspace depended on it being equipped with a hyperdrive engine. Thus, vessels that suffered a hyperdrive failure while in hyperspace or lacked a hyperdrive and had separated from the vessel with one would immediately fall out of hyperspace. Cutting power to a functional hyperdrive would also have this effect.
So again, just another emergency protocol put
Yeah.
in place.
Yep. Quick jumps into hyperspace could be unsettling to inexperienced pilots, but those with the proper stamina and training could overcome this. Hyperspace whiplash was a condition experienced by some travelers upon exiting hyperspace.
Same thing can happen when you're teaching your new teenage child how to drive. Stop, go, stop, go, stop, go.
Yeah, that's terrifying. I don't know that. Large objects in real space cast mass shadows in hyperspace. So hyperspace jumps, known and shortened as hyper jumps, necessitated very precise calculations. Without those, a vessel could fly right through a star or another celestial body. Because of the danger, there existed a predetermined hyperspace routes with interstellar travelers could take. The discovery of a new safe hyperspace route could play a pivotal role in war, as would allow naval forces to move faster, unbeknownst to their adversaries. The Galactic Empire employed indicator vessels which utilized gravity well projectors that created artificial mass shadows, both to pull them from hyperspace and prevent them from making the jump to it. Which we see in Rebels, because we see Chopper make war crimes, specifically in that episode with said ship.
Yeah, and the new hyperspace routes in Star Wars Clone Wars, there's a 2-3 episode arc where they're trying to extract a Jedi Master. The little pig guy, I can't remember his name, who knew the coordinates, hyperspace coordinates that apparently linked the Coruscant to the separatist capital planets to each other.
Oh God!
Apparently,
I don't remember that episode.
Yeah, it was a weird one. They had to infiltrate a prison planet that was specifically designed for Jedi.
Huh. I'm gonna have to rewatch Clone Wars. It's been a minute since I watched Clone Wars. So upon entering hyperspace, the ship appeared to accelerate dramatically, a phenomenon known as pseudo-motion, and emitted coronal radiation, which made their jump detectable by specialized sensors. The hyperspace could be traversed via methods including navigation computers, force-sensitive navigators, or jump-by-jump journeys. The unknown regions hosted unstable hyperspace pathways, which required its residents to rely on navigators and jump-by-jump navigation rather than navicomputers.
Yeah, like I was saying earlier, the unknown region, they don't know what caused it, but for some reason, hyperspace is just completely unstable over there.
Yep. Hence why you don't see anybody really going to unknown regions very often, if at all. So safely entering hyperspace from a standing standing start while docked or exiting hyperspace directly into an atmosphere of a planet were both feats that were generally considered impossible, even for an experienced pilot. Despite this, Han Solo accomplished both, with the Millennium Falcon being drawn into the First Order Resistance conflict. In fact, starships had safety protocols that prevented hyperspace engines from firing within the gravitational pull of a planet, although it is possible to turn these protocols off, such as the move was highly dangerous, and any ship doing so had a high chance of blowing up, becoming severely damaged, or falling apart in hyperspace.
Yes, I remember this. Yeah, I don't know if it was Han Solo or it was in the third movie, I think, when they're doing this. It's like hyperspace skipping or something like that.
So what I just said was from Force Awakens.
Oh, that's right, when they
They
had to get past the
they jump
shield.
where they jump. The Han jumps. Does hyperspace jump out of the big giant ship they were in with the rat cars.
Oh, yeah.
Jumped out of that, and then obviously towards the end of the film, they hyperspace to Ilum or Starkiller Base, and like bypass their shields by going through hyperspace.
Yeah, that's right. Okay, I forgot about those.
And almost crashed. So
That's not how the Force works.
oh my god, I love that line. I love that. So give it. You can give the sequels their own credit or whatnot. You can't. You have like Force Awakens was the best of the three, and I really did enjoy that film. Not gonna lie.
It was all right. I still have my issues with it, but it did come with some good one-liners.
Oh, absolutely. So successful jumps near a planet where possible. Though during the Clone Wars, a cruiser carrying the injured Anakin Skywalker had a hyperdrive accidentally triggered while still on the planet's atmosphere to the damage from the droid fighters. Despite the proximity of the planet, the ship successfully jumped to hyperspace without being destroyed. Jyn Erso and her company jumped into hyperspace from inside the atmosphere of Jeddah after the Death Star destroyed the moon's holy city. While fleeing Lothal in a U-wing, Harrison Dula jumped into hyperspace right in front of an Imperial construction module and flew through the hangar successfully, getting out of the other side and making the jump. To save the remaining Resistance escape ships, the Vice Admiral Ameline Holdo engaged the hyperdrive of the Resistance cruiser Radius directly into the path of the First Order Mega-class star Dreadnought, the Supremacy heavily damaging and effectively vaporizing all traces of her ship. The tactic became also known as the Holdo maneuver.
Now, that last part, I've read that she was trying to go to hyperspace to try to draw them off, and she accidentally rammed into the Star Dreadnought.
And ended up destroying like Star Destroyer, one or two Star Destroyers, and severely damaging the Dreadnought.
Yeah. So I mean, it depends on your point of view, really, how you want to play that out.
Right. So, and now we get into the last part of canon, which is the history. So, the ability to travel through hyperspace occurred in nature. The hyperspace, a space-based species known as the Purrgil, can naturally travel through hyperspace. At some point in the ancient past, the galaxy and ancestral species unlocked the secrets of traveling through hyperspace and opened up the galaxy up to the explorations. According to legend, the Rakatans, an ancient amphibious humanoid species native to the planet Leon, were the first to develop hyperspace travel. Okay, so it is canon. So that's stayed the same. Hyperspace travel was mastered as early as the 4 millennia before the Cold War, as demonstrated by the existence of hyperspace sextants from the era. In the early days of the Galactic Republic, hyperspace travel between the greater Saswina and the core worlds required astrogating by hyperspace beacons, with numerous reversions to real space necessary to ensure safe passage. Nonetheless, access to hyperspace travel proved to be vital to the Republic's expansion, leading to a period of time known as the Great Hyperspace Rush.
Now, this is interesting because it says early as 4 millennia before the Cold War, aka the Galactic Civil War, which would be just around the time of KOTOR 1, give or take.
Yes, if KOTOR 1 is made canon. Yes.
Yeah. So it'll be interesting to see how that would be incorporated.
Right. Well, and it says
that would mean that Republic would just be founded right about then.
Not necessarily. I mean, it's just as hyperspace travel was mastered as early as 4 million. I mean, they could still do hyperspace travel. It's just not as efficient and safe as it is, what we know it as.
Yeah.
So around 2 centuries before the invasion of Naboo, starships across the galaxy were abruptly knocked out of hyperspace in the Great Hyperspace Disaster, masterminded by the Nihil. Thanks to the path engines, the Nihil were able to perform acts with light speed through the thought to be impossible. Genarius Nakir of the
Kilji Illuminating.
Yeah, that. Nation viewed hyperspace as a swirling disorder. And the Nihil are a bunch of jerks. So,
read
the High Republic books. They are not fun people.
Oh no, they're nutcases. They're very bad nutcases.
Absolutely. And at the same time, or at the time of the First Order Resistance conflict, the First Order discovered sub-hyperspace, which they utilized with their super weapon Starkiller Base. The firing of Starkiller Base during the Hazian Cataclysm in 34 ABY released enough energy to create a temporary rip in sub-hyperspace. This made the disaster visible from across the galaxy instantaneously for a short time.
But it's kind of scary. Out of nowhere, you just see a red beam come out of nowhere and just blow up a bunch of planets. Yeah. That's got to be scary.
No kidding. That's terrifying. That's all we have on hyperspace this week.
I would like to point out in Legends, the first time the Sith and Galactic Republic first got into conflict was pure accident. Because there were hyperspace prospectors, a brother and sister, I think, trying to find hyperspace routes out into like the mid-rim and outer rims. And they just so happened to stumble upon the Sith Empire.
Right.
I think it was like the Great Hyperspace War.
Yes. I think that's right.
Yeah, and which caused the very first conflict between the two groups.
Yep. But, cool. Any final thoughts on hyperspace?
It is a very mysterious and unknown force that needs to be delved into more in canon. We need answers to what hyperspace is. That's
true. That's very true. And it's still a mystery even now, even with Skeleton Crew, which I still need to watch. But I hear there's a bunch of mysterious stuff with hyperspace in that too.
Well, maybe.
Mainly with the kids and the planet. But again, everybody, thank you for listening to Holocron Histories, and may the Force be with you.
Thank you for listening to Holocron Histories, Star Wars Canon vs. Legends. You can find us on the Robots Radio Discord at robotsradio.net, the Bennett Friends Podcast in Discord, where you can share your thoughts, experiences, and love for the Star Wars lore. And don't forget, for the Republic.
Want $1,000 weight loss medication for $50? It all starts with Roe's free GLP-1 insurance check. Just upload your insurance card to see if you have coverage, then relax. Over 200,000 people have qualified for a $50 copay through Roe. Go to roe.co/health. Half of covered patients have a $50 per month copay or less for medication, plus $145 monthly Roe membership fee. Deductible cost may apply and final cost varies by insurance plan. For safety information about GLP-1 medications, including boxed warning, go to roe.co/safety, RX only.